I'm Crystal Vanessa, Little Monster Demopoulos, and I am a UFC strawweight fighter. My first fight ever was when I was a kid. I was just always like super rough with absolutely everybody. Started fighting boys at a really young age, and I actually got kicked out of 4 schools in 1 calendar year fighting dudes. One time, 6 of them, and they had me surrounded, and I just started fighting them. And I mean, I came out of that fight. People that I grew up with, like, they still remember that. Like, yeah, I'm never gonna forget. There was like a lot of fights that I actually like got my ass kicked. Being arrested, I don't recommend it. The cops come, they put you in handcuffs, you're sitting in the back of the car, you're trying to tell them that you're innocent. They know that you're not innocent. You know that you're not innocent. You get carried away to the station. Now you're sitting in the station. You're trying to make a scene, you know, because you're like, oh, why am I here? I didn't do it. They know you did it, and just waiting for somebody to come and pick you up. So it sucks. Yeah, I did go to juvenile detention, but it was just like a quick 2-week trip. Like, it's not like I was in there for months, but I did go. It's not cool. The food is absolute trash. The showers are absolute trash. You don't get any amenities. You know, the beds aren't comfortable. The chairs are the most terrible thing that you've ever sat in. Let's just say that the people that are in there aren't the best people, so it's not fun. Yeah, you can't describe Las Vegas in just one word. Las Vegas is amazing, right? Like, we have the best of everything. We have the best food. We have the best entertainment. All of like the most world sports events come here to Las Vegas. We just had the Super Bowl. We had the F1. Like, Las Vegas is Vegas for a reason. And if you want to get away from the Strip, you want to get away from the most amazing parties that you'll ever go to, all you have to do is just go 20 minutes right outside of the city, and you can go for like the most beautiful hikes ever. And I'm an outdoorsy kind of chick, so that's probably one of my favorite parts about Las Vegas. So being a UFC fighter is literally my dream come true, and I appreciate it every single day. Out of 7 days of the week, I train 10 of them, right? Because I'm training like 3 to 4 times a day, 5 days a week. I train once on a Saturday and just once on a Sunday. I wake up, I get my breakfast, my coffee, I go to the UFC facility, and they have this like multi-million-dollar facility just for us UFC fighters. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's pristine, right? So like, I'll go in there, I'll do one of my, I'll get done, I'll go get some PT, get my shoulder work done, you know, get my neck adjusted, and then I'll go get some lunch, still at the UFC. You know, they give us free food, one of the perks. Maybe I'll train again, and if not, it's cool because we got recovery. Then I'll go do some red light therapy, I'll do some cold plunge, some hot tub, sauna. Yeah, I just really love that place. And I can spend all day there. So like, fighting's a full-time job for me. Solid 8 hours, and I couldn't be happier. Being at the UFC facility it's different than any other gym that you'll go to in the country, because all of the UFC fighters come there. Like, that is the hub. So I'm a local UFC fighter, right? Like, I live here in Vegas. That's like my home. But I mean, there will be opponents, for example, like people that you will potentially be fighting in the future, coming in there and training. So there's like this like unspoken rule of like, everybody needs their space, right? Like, we're not going to be watching each other train, but we're all in the same space. Like, we might meet up in the hot tub, you know, and it's just a very different place. And it's a beautiful place too, because I feel like all the fighters have such amazing energy. Almost always it's conversation and good vibes, to be honest with you. I feel like all of our egos get sorted out in the cage. Like, there's nothing to talk about. Like, that shows up when you fight, right? Like, it all gets dealt with. Most fighters are actually like the nicest people that you'll ever meet, like, really surprisingly. Dana White in person is one of the most coolest, chill individuals. Like, the man just like walks with confidence. He breathes confidence. And I think it also matters like, which Dana are you getting? You know, are you getting the Dana in front of the camera where like they're all like in front of him, or are you getting like cool Dana who's like actually just enjoying his life? Because we're talking about a man who's super intelligent, very, very about the things that he cares about. And he's just he's just a cool guy. He's so genuine, you know, like this man is speaking his mind, he's speaking his heart, and I think that more people need to do that type of stuff, honestly. He gets like a lot of heat, but there's also like a camera in his face 24/7, and they're watching every word that he says. I think you're not gonna make everybody happy. The trolls. I do have a very close relationship with God, and I am a Christian. You know, I love Jesus Christ. He's totally my savior. I speak from it genuinely, you know, because like I speak from the heart. I wouldn't call myself religious because I feel like religion in itself is more like the habits that you do, like the practices that you do, and it's more of the motion, where I have a really deep rooted relationship with God in my heart. I say that because I get to speak from fact. I don't walk in faith. Like I walk in fact. Like I know God. I've experienced too much personally that even sharing my personal experiences don't do justice because it is so intimate for me. Earlier experiencing so much negativity and knowing that there were really, really evil things in this world and experiencing that part of it and starting to like grow my relationship with God. If evil exists and you know that that's there, God also exists. And I know that that's there. So I'm just continuously praying to be filled with light and like just to breathe out all of the darkness, because where light exists, darkness cannot. I can take on a male UFC fighter in jiu-jitsu. Definitely don't want to fight a male UFC fighter in the octagon. There is a difference. I am a female. I am strong as for being a female strawweight, but a man is a man, and if that dude punches me, he's gonna knock me out. Like, let's be honest here. I'm not Delulu, okay? I know what the facts are. I think that jiu-jitsu is a great equalizer. I think that when it comes to like certain techniques, you know, we're able to finesse our way around things. A submission is a submission, a tap is a tap. And if you cut off somebody's carotid arteries, they're going to sleep. I think if I get punched in the face really hard by a man, I'm also going to sleep. And yeah, I don't want to fight a guy in the cage. An average training schedule for me, I'm getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Why? Because I'm training 3 to 4 times a day. Like I'm literally in the gym, constantly putting my body through stress. And I like being happy and I like being energized. So your girl needs to sleep. And then the eating schedule is like super strict, right? Because we have to lose a lot of weight. Last camp, I started very high, so don't judge me. My weight was at like 148. Now I have to drop down to 160. And so like we're like performing at a calorie deficit while still needing to be as optimal as possible for our training so that we can get like the most out of it. But on an average day, like a Monday, I'll walk into the gym, I'll do like an hour and a half of striking, and then definitely an hour of wrestling, and then probably another hour of jiu-jitsu, and then I'll do sparring. If you guys don't know what sparring is, it's like full-blown MMA, right? Like we are literally doing a full MMA fight, but just in the gym instead of in the octagon. And then I'll run for an hour, and then I'll probably do like another wrestling or jiu-jitsu session, right? So like, just like it's continuous. It's like working on the skills, losing weight, getting stronger, getting better, faster, stronger. It's awesome. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Celebrities do slide in my DMs from time to time. I do not kiss and tell, but I will say that I've had some really awesome relationships coming out of those. I don't know about the wildest DM that I've ever received, but I do receive a lot of DMs of like guys wanting to fly me out to places. Like, yes, of course I want to go to Miami, and of course like I want to go to New York, but more than that, I just want to train. I just want to stay on top of my game and do my even literally last week, I was just in Brazil. Like last month, I was in Abu Dhabi. Like I'm already traveling. Like I'm already doing all of these things. I'm good. Like I don't need a plane ticket somewhere on some fancy vacation. Like I'm super solid and I love my life. I think the best way to get my attention is just being genuine, you know, being a real person, having like dope conversation, complimenting my heart and my mind more than just my physical appearances. I actually got into fighting from pole dancing. I was dancing in the club and the manager at the time was a kickboxing instructor. I'm doing all these crazy flips and the suicide drops and just literally all of the tricks, right? And he was like, you know, if you put that same skill that you put into dancing into something like fighting, you might do something with your life. All right, teach me how to fight. He was like, no. He's like, people go to the gym to get away from people like you. I promise if you teach me how to fight, I will respect the gym. Yeah, that's how I started fighting. Wow. And the first time that he took me in there to train me, like I swear I almost out like 3-4 times. I definitely threw up. 100% I wanted to quit. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. And I literally, that was almost it for me. But I just remember like almost quitting and being like, man, is this going to be one more thing that you could have done, that you could have been great at and just chose not to? And I didn't want that story to be told. So literally from day one, I was like, I'm either going to be completely serious about this or I'm never doing this again. So I was just all in. Crazy story. This is actually the family business for me. I was an exotic entertainer for about like a long time, okay? My mom's a stripper and my dad was a DJ, and that's how they met each other. So when I turned 18 and I wanted to be an entertainer, of course, like my family was like the first people who I told, and they were like, oh, we don't really want you to do this, but if you're gonna do this, here's how you do it right. So my dad actually taught me how to be a hustler in the industry and how to make money properly without compromising my morals and values. I wanted to help other girls have the same access to the information. So my dad actually helped me write a book, and it's called Stripper Bible. So it's for exotic entertainers. It's a how-to to help them make money without compromising their values. If a girl came to me and wanted to be a stripper, guys, I'm not sensitive to it. Don't be either, okay? Stripper's a stripper. Absolutely advise against it. Like, I'd be like, listen, honey, like, I'm sure you have some brains, you know, I'm sure that you can educate yourself some way. Like, Google will teach you anything that you need to know. Find a different way to create a stream of income. For myself, I loved pole dancing. I loved being athletic. I loved being artistic. There was a lot of things about the industry that I found that had not everything to do with just capturing the bag, right? And there's 100 different ways to capture a bag and a lot better ways to get even more money without dancing. So I don't advise it. I will definitely steer you in any direction I can, but if you're gonna do it well. In dancing, I made $8,000. Dancing actually over in New York in one night. Now I make more money as a fighter in one night than I did as a dancer. So I'm way happier being a UFC fighter. Everything from like my grip strength is really awesome. So like, you know, picking yourself up on the pole, all the flexibility, the dexterity that it takes, just having like spatial awareness, like knowing where my body is. I mean, jiu-jitsu and pole dancing are like very correlated to one another. So yes, I use a lot of the skills that I learned in pole dancing now over in the Octagon. I was homeless for some time when I was like 16, 17 years old, and I was homeless some few other times too as an adult. I was living in an abandoned house in the middle of the west side of Cleveland, and it was just horrific. I should not have been there. I found myself there one bad decision at a time. Some other kids were playing hide and seek in what felt like my safe space. And I was like, yeah, I got to get the out of here. So I changed it around one decision at a time, the same way that I got there. I think something that's like really important for people to understand about not only my past struggle, but maybe their past struggles as well, is like the overcoming process, right? Like you become so much stronger and you really know yourself. Like I walk in so much confidence because I know what I've came through to be the person that I am today, right? And it was character building moments like the things that I've been through in my past that have made me who I am today. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but if you're going to struggle, get through that and then become better from it. Don't get bitter, get better. I jumped into Joe Rogan's arms, and that was super awesome. And then, you know, Michael Bisping, I jumped in his arms twice, and I jumped in DC's arms. But like, okay, so after I jumped in Michael Bisping's arms, I told myself I wasn't gonna do that anymore. I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, we're gonna move on now. Like, this is cute, but I'm over it. And then I saw DC, and it was like, I just got way too excited because like I grow up as a fighter watching these people, like, you know, he was the double champ and like he's done so many incredible things in the MMA community. So I just got way too excited, and that was just me being like genuinely pumped when I saw him, and I couldn't help myself. So that's what happened there. I might change it up, but if a new announcer steps in, I might jump in their arms. We don't know what's going to happen yet. So I have a heart for the people. Yeah. Like, I literally love people so much. So I feel like somehow, some way, when I'm done fighting, I'm going to be in public speaking. Like, I'm going to be helping other people shine in their own lights the way that people helped me shine into mine. Reach others that might be in the same fucked situations that I used to be in, and just like help to show them, like, listen, I know where you're at. It's okay. Like, just don't live there forever. You know, like, you are there today, but you don't have to be there tomorrow. I think that influencer boxers have literally saved the sport. They may not be the best boxers, but they are the best entertainers for sure. And that's what the sport really needed. It needed that like vamp. I have to give Jake Paul respect for being willing to step into the ring with somebody like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson may be older, and here we go again with Jake Paul fighting old retired fighters. That man's got it, so I'm excited to watch that. Jake Paul, if you're watching this, I better be at your fight, all right? I want to watch you throw down with Mike Tyson, because, yo, I respect it. I respect it. Even if you get knocked the out, at least you stepped in there with Mike Tyson. So I was in another organization called the LFA, and I was actually made it all the way to being the champion of the LFA. And then I got the call for the Contender Series, which is Dana White's Contender Series. And I did not do great in that, right? And that fight was only 3 weeks after my UFC fight. So then I go back to the LFA like 3 weeks after that. So now this is like 3 fights within 3 months. Lost that fight in a 5-round war, right? Like, my face was so cut up. I had like 20 stitches in my face. And you just go home after that and really reflect, like, is this even for me anymore, right? I had one more fight in the LFA, and I beat the shit out of this girl. Like, I knocked her out in 35 seconds. And she was like a world champion karate girl too. So this is kind of a big deal. And my next fight after that, I got a short notice call to be in the UFC, and I couldn't say no. So I'm in the back, right? We're talking, they didn't take me to a hospital. They just took me to the back of the arena. And like, when you're fighting, like, it's just crazy. Like, I'm watching my face bleed onto this canvas, and I'm just like, well, this is what we're doing. I have no idea what I look like, right? So they take me into the back of the arena, and they sew me up on this like metal table. And I'm literally staring at the doctor, and I was like, please, I swear I was pretty before this fight. He's like, I'm going to do the best that I can. He did an amazing job. A very unreal life experience to get 20 stitches in my face in the back of an arena after a 5-round war. That's actually a really hard question. Who do I want to face in the Octagon before they retire? Because I feel like a lot of the fighters are my age, and I'm not retiring anytime soon. So it's like, why should you retire, right? Mm-hmm. Like, also difficult because a lot of them are bouncing weight. Like, sometimes they're 25ers, sometimes they're 15ers, right? So a lot of the girls that used to be in my weight at 115 are now at 125. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, our metabolisms change, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, that was such like a loaded answer for such a simple question. No one. I'll fight any body. Put him in front of me. Ah! Prior to being a UFC fighter, as an MMA fighter, when I've had to fight people, I just kind of go up to them and just like choke them unconscious. I feel like that's the most peaceful way to end any fight. Most people do not know any jiu-jitsu at all, and I'm safest there. I don't want to try to punch you in the face, and like, my hands are gonna hurt, your face is gonna hurt. This is not good for anybody. I'm just gonna kindly come up to you, get my arms around your neck, choke you unconscious, wake you up, hand you a bottle of water, and send you on your way. I think that's the most peaceful way to end any fight. Would I rather cheat on my man or snitch on my homies? I gotta snitch on the homies. I've never cheated on my man before, and I feel like, I love you homies, but maybe you shouldn't have f***ed up. I got your back, but not if I gotta choose. If I'm in a relationship with a guy and he's scared that I'm gonna deck him in the face because he cheated on me, don't cheat on me. How's that? Number one. So common. If they're not a fighter, literally the first thing that comes out of every man's mouth that I'm talking to is like, I bet you could beat me up. Yeah, I can, but why are we talking about it? Like, that's not something I want to bring up. I don't want to bring up the fact that I can kick your ass. Like, what are we doing here? Of course I can. Any guy that dates a powerful female, just confidence. Even if we're not dating, just be confident. 1,000,000% the biggest turnoff is just not having confidence. I don't care how much money's in the bank. I don't care a whole lot about what you look like. Obviously, appearances do matter a little bit. But I think the most important thing, like, you could have every other box checked, but if you don't have that confidence about you and that stride, it's just never gonna work. Am I toxic? I am the most untoxic person ever. I'm perfect. What are you talking about? The biggest red flag that I ignored was my boyfriend, my longtime boyfriend. One of his very, very close friends was a lesbian, and she was very much so not a lesbian, and I definitely ignored that red flag for way too long. She was bi. Like, she had a girlfriend, but that was bi. She was hot too. No, I love Hoodville. Honestly, best page ever. Like, I could scroll through that all day long. Hoodville's the Hoodville's amazing. It makes me laugh. I love it. If you're offended by Hoodville's post, go eat a cookie, take a nap, wake up, have a cup of coffee, and then try again, because Hoodville's not the problem. You're the problem. Guys, I just want to let all of you know, my name's Vanessa, Little Monster Demopoulos. I love you guys. Be your best selves every single day. Be the best version of you that you can be. And I know that shit sounds cliche, but I promise you, if you try it each day, you're going to see a big difference in your life. Thank you so much, by the way, for all of the comments about how fat my ass gets in my off season. It's okay, clap it up. Thank you for watching Technical Foul. Go live your best life.